Hey, FlimsyLunchTray here, and welcome to our Friday edition World of Warships video. Today I have a replay for you in the Östergötland. Not entirely sure how to pronounce the name of this ship, even though Sweden is a neighboring country to where I'm at in Norway. And we're going to highlight this ship, Tier 9, European, technically a Swedish destroyer, and talk about it. Usually I like to do a live commentary video in addition to having kind of a featured replay, but I just simply don't have the time to do that today, so I'll try to maybe throw up a live commentary video as additional video sometime next week. So we're here on Shards in domination mode, and I am with divisioned up with two clanmates. And I'm going to talk about the pros and cons listed on the WoW's Wiki, and then I'm going to give you my own personal thoughts. So the pros is that these have the fastest torpedoes in the game, tied with Holland, Olin's, and Shimakaze's type F3 torpedoes, all at 76 knots. The torpedo speed you're seeing in this video, I think I have at 90 knots. Relatively fast torpedo reload speed. I have a 76 second reload speed built on the Östergötland right now. Strong main battery with good chance of starting fires, access to the repair party, and very strong anti-aircraft defenses. The cons is it has a low damage and low flooding chance on the torpedoes. Very short main battery range, 10.2. Stock I think is 9 point something. Relatively low speed, relatively low small hit point pool. No access to a smoke generator, and that's funny because this also has a con. It says torpedoes take a significantly long time to reload, 100 seconds, even though they listed it as a pro. So let's transition into what's happening here in the game, and I'll talk to you a little bit more about what's happening here with the ship and how I quite like it. So we have had this FDG who has grounded himself, so we're going to throw one rack at him. Unfortunately, we don't have another rack to use on him, as we had the run-in with the destroyer here in Bravo. But our left flank is light, so I'm going to move that way to help support. Let's see, I'm trying to see, is it a Zeiton minimap? It's a little hard to see that on my recording screen right now. But let's talk about this line, okay? This line, I had a hard time figuring out, I feel like, until once I got hit Oland, the Tier 8 European destroyer, it began to feel better. I felt like I began to kind of understand what the line was more about. And then getting to the Östergötland, really like this ship a lot. It feels like it fits well with the play style that I have as a destroyer player. Particularly I like the heel, even though you don't get a smoke generator. And then I'm really excited to get the Holland eventually, and we'll feature that on the channel here as well. But I like this ship. It's quite nice. The thing about these European destroyers, they're known for their fast torpedoes, but also at the same time the torpedoes, they don't hit hard. They hit for very low damage. So kind of the trade-off is if you get these fast torpedoes, they don't hit very hard, but they have a actually pretty decent, pretty good reload time, especially when you build into it. Like I said, right now I have a 76 second reload time built in with the Östergötland. So that actually I quite like. And we also have, oh, another thing about the torpedoes I need to say, is when you're doing the spreads, which you'll kind of see me look at here, is that you get a very narrow spread with the torpedoes here on the Östergötland, and then you can go for a more wider spread, or maybe what you think would be a normal spread with something like the gearing, and then it has a super wide spread, right? But you get these 2x4, so basically 8 torpedoes, and they're fun. They really are, especially when you build into their speed. Like, I think you can get the max speed of these torpedoes up to 95 knots. So it takes a very short time for your torpedoes to reach target. And that actually is pretty strong, in my opinion. Because when you dump torpedoes on the target, you feel like, oh, I'm pretty confident he's moving his direction. The the travel time of the torpedoes are going to get there a lot quicker than a lot of other torpedoes in the game. Like the Shimikaze's F3 type torpedoes, they're super fast, but they only go 8 kilometers. Or these, you can get these up to 95 knots, 90 knots right now in this replay. And you can see how fast they're traveling. It doesn't take very long, and they have a 13.5 kilometer torpedo range. So I think that's just fantastic. So I really like that about the ship line. So we've lost our teammate here. He shouldn't have pushed into the enemy Kitakaze. But I've thrown some torpedoes, maybe hoping to catch the Kitakaze because he smoked up. Maybe we'll catch another ship behind him. And he didn't really put out a smoke screen very far, so we are going to get one torpedo hit and cause flooding there. So he's going to be a relatively low health target when we see him again. And then we've got this Gigantus now, who's pushing up the flank here. So I want to go see what he's up to. There's several reasons why I chose this replay clip. I had a couple other few good replays, but I feel like several good things got demonstrated here that I want to show you with the Östergötland. So right now we're working on our distance with our concealment here. I'm trying to remember, let's see, max concealment I think is it 6? See, I have a really hard time seeing on my screen. I think it's 6 kilometers, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe it's 6.1. But I'm working right now to try to stay outside of detectability range of this Gigantus now. I'm trying to figure out, is he committing to pushing into the cap? So I'm holding my torpedoes, right? A lot of times as soon as your torpedoes reload, you can kind of fall into, oh, I need to fire them as soon as possible. But here I'm waiting to see what he's up to. And I'm trying to see if is he committed? Is he going to turn out and turn away? And he's just fired, and I'm like, yeah, he's going to disengage. So I'm going to lead a bit more. That second rack I probably could have brought in a bit more, because what I'm thinking is what he's going to do is that he's going to make a U-turn. He's going to go back the same way he came. And you can see how close we were to him, but we were still saying detected. So he has no idea that we're here. And the torpedoes are looking pretty good. Yeah, it's going to be 6 or 5, sorry. And the devastating strike. And we just activated a talent. So on this destroyer, I have a Jerzy Shorski. I actually don't even know how to pronounce his name correctly. I think that's just how I've heard Jingles pronounce his name, and I quite like it. So we've activated the torpedo armament expert. It reduces torpedo tube reload time -5% for every 8 torpedo hit ribbons scored. And you can stack this talent multiple times, so you can get -10, -15%, right? I think I've only stacked it twice so far, meaning I got 16 torpedo hits. And I think that would have brought us down to, let me do the math here real quick. Yeah, it took us down from a 76-second reload to like a 68-second reload time. So just over a minute, and then you pair in adrenaline rush with that. Then maybe even like 64, 63 seconds, something of that nature. So it's very strong. The other talent that Jerzy Shorski has, which I don't think I activate in this video, is the AA Gun Expert. Increases the continuous damage of AA defenses plus 10% for scoring 20 aircraft shot down ribbons. And you can only get that once per battle. Okay. So let's talk about the guns. Okay. So these guns are nice. It's a 2x4. You have 2 turrets with 2 guns in them each. So 4. And I think they have somewhat good accuracy. As I'm waiting here, and you kind of get to see the dispersion spread here as we push into the Kitakaze. And so I'm going to demonstrate something here with the guns to you. One of the things I actually like is that the max gun range is only 10.2 on this line. If I want a destroyer line that has a higher range, I'll take a different class. But this Kitakaze is super low, and he's still shooting at us. When you're in this type of situation, I'm not even detected. I get to just keep shooting for free, and we get the kill, right? When you have a low health target like that, who's just sitting broadside to you in a smoke screen, and you're able to safely take him out, like we weren't detected, because we don't have this huge gun bloom that causes us to get detected, just keep firing, keep chipping away. It can be really frustrating for the enemy destroyer in that type of situation. But it actually works out quite well. These guns also have a really nice reload time, and I should have looked to see specifically what those were. But it's because you only have 4 guns, so they scaled back the reload time. But the nerf, if you will, the counter to these guns is the distance at which these guns can fire. So right now it's 10.2. Stock, it's like 9.29, 9.6, so that can feel like a struggle. I personally don't want to build into the guns to make the range go even further, because I like, let's say you're dueling an enemy destroyer, you're taking them on, and then he's got some buddies, let's say they're 11, 12 kilometers away in the distance, and they're also firing on you while you're having this destroyer engagement. As soon as you kill that enemy destroyer, you instantly go dark. Versus something maybe like the Tashkent, where if you fully build into the gun range, you're like 15 point something kilometer range on the guns. So for me personally, I like the fact that the guns have a shorter range than most destroyers. Maybe you can find that frustrating as a player, but to me, that's another thing Wargaming has done well with these destroyers, in the sense of setting them apart, setting this destroyer line apart in different ways from other destroyer lines within the game. The heal, which I could use right now, but I wouldn't get the full benefit out of, is really nice. I actually run the India Delta combat signal, so I get that little bit more out of the heal. You'll probably find it relatively funny how often I've gotten dreadnoughts with destroyers that have heals, particularly the Kid, Tier 8 American Premium Destroyer. So it's really, I think it's hysterical getting dreadnought and destroyer when you run the repair party. And here you see we have stumbled across the enemy carrier. This is fantastic. I feel like I'm very suited for the job in destroying this Hornet. So you're gonna see the AA guns at work here. I go ahead and what you want to do is you want to pop the defensive AA, and then after you've popped the defensive AA, you want to prioritize the AA, because that stacks to even greater damage. I see players who maybe they prioritize their AA sector first, which is by pressing O on whatever side of the ship you're facing, and then they press the defensive AA fire consumable. You won't get as big as a hit right at the start of that. So if you pop defensive AA fire consumable first and then prioritize your AA, you can do a lot of damage there. And I'm going to keep firing on the enemy Ibuki over here. Because I have nothing better to do. The Hornet is reversing behind the island. I'm just going to torpedo yellow the Hornet, because he's not going to be able to do anything about it, as I'm sure he's panicking here. But we can't be in a hurry to get to the Hornet here. He's dumped torpedoes, so I do want to avoid those. I want to retain my health pool for now, so there's no need for me to take the damage on that. And we're going to keep chipping away. I think we have even a fire burning on the Ibuki. And just let our AA guns work. Because they're actually pretty strong on the Östergötland, especially as Sergeant finished off the Ibuki there. They're quite strong. Okay, so the other thing that's really fun about these torpedoes is when you get super close to a target, and I mean the torpedoes go so fast. Like you can just watch the travel time here of how close this Hornet is. And I'm trying to figure out, I think he's going to start accelerating, which I can see that with his the smoke coming out the stack that he's accelerating indeed. But it's not going to have an effect here just because our torpedoes are so quick. And we finished off the Hornet. I thought I should have got another devastating strike there. I thought he had over half health, but it is what it is. And we're going to go ahead and pop our last defensive A fire consumable, just because it's the last planes we're going to see in this match. So this is a situation very tricky on. I needed to get rid of that CV, and I really enjoy killing carriers if you've been following the channel long enough. But we have this big points difference. It's not, well, it's big. It's not massive, but it's quite big. So 520 to their 900. So I need to step on Charlie Cap, and our allied destroyer needs to go ahead and move over onto the Bravo Cap, because we need to stop their point intake. Our IO has just finished off the Jervis, which is great. So then they just have a Kagero and the Alabama, as we get some fighters there. So we need to make sure that we're paying attention to the points and what's happening here. So when we kill a carrier, you get the most points within the game. Here you saw me use the widest spread that you can with these torpedoes. I'm wondering, maybe the Kagero might be lingering around on a smoke screen. I've got nothing else to fire my torpedoes at, so we'll just go ahead and throw them that way. As we pick up the strike team, as Sergeant deals with that Alabama to the south. Other things we'll talk about this line. You also get the engine boost consumable. So that's very helpful when you're trying to get across the map. It looks like we were cruising about 35, 36 knots there. That should also be with the CRM mic flag, which also gives you a little bit of a buff on your speed to get across the map. So also when you're in these destroyer gunfight engagements, I like to run my engine boost consumable because then it helps me accelerate, slow down when I'm trying to juke some salvos, or maybe you're taking on an enemy cruiser who's low health at a distance. Like I said, the AA is really strong on this ship. We'll look at it a little bit more closely in tomorrow's upgrading commander build video and giving that a breakdown. So we've effectively stalled the enemy team's points intake. So now once we flipped Bravo and Charlie, we'll have even more points ticking in. So we have over 3 minutes and 35 seconds left in the battle. So with 3 caps ticking, that should be enough, assuming we don't have more teammates die. So we'll have to see here. And we got to hunt down this Kagero. He's been dark for a little bit now. So he's probably somewhere, I'm thinking around G8, G9, maybe somewhere in that area. But we're going to push this way. This is the type of situation where I try to think, if I was the enemy destroyer and there's the Kagero torps, what would I do in this situation? I would be playing in that area, the FG 8, 9, as basically we get a trade there on ships. That he'd be somewhere that way. And then maybe if I'm sneaky enough, I want to run to C cap, so the opposite side of this island. Sergeant has radio location, or also known as RPF, so he has a rough idea of what direction the enemy destroyer is, and so we're going to use that. You're going to see him pinging the map as we work to narrow in on the location here. When I do a live commentary video on the ship next week, I'll probably try to break down more of my thought process of how I'm positioning, so on and so forth. We have 14 torpedo hits already. If I get 2 more, then that would stack that torpedo armament reload expert time with Jerzy Swirsky. I'm so sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong, and if I'm pronouncing this ship wrong. So that's really beneficial, having him on the ship. I was waiting to grind up this line until I got him. Originally, you could get him through a campaign, but then they yoinked him from the campaign, and then that was roughly the time I started playing, and I didn't have enough high enough tier ships to pick him up. And then they moved him. They brought him back eventually into the armory for coal for 175,000 coal. So this Kagero player is trying to get back in behind us. So we're going to move this direction. I was a little conscious of having Sergeant following us because you can see he's quite low health, so the Kagero could pick him off as our points intakes is coming in. The Kagero has good concealment, so I know he's just in this small bubble to the east of me here, and that's going to result in picking up the last kill. So we'll go ahead and transition into the personal score. So 126,000 damage, 110 target hits, 14 torpedo hits, 18 planes shot down. So we were really close to activating that AA armament expert, or whatever we call it here with Jerzy Swirsky. 4 kills, 6 head-on fires, 6 floodings. So actually not too bad with the flooding chance we had there. We're going to top the team at what looks like to be over 2,200 base experience. Yeah, so team did pretty good there. It's kind of close there at the end. The enemy team had that large points advantage in the beginning, but we were able to draw back at the end and making the kills that counted. So there you can see the damage we did to Hornet. Yeah, we should have got Devastating Strike for 46,000 damage on him. The 30,000 on the Gnizer now, Kitakaze, and then the Kagero there at the end, who was really low health and was just trying to stay away. And this is where you can see what we get with premium account, with XP, credits earned, commander XP, so on and so forth. So I quite like this line. Gearing used to be my favorite destroyer at tier 10, but now the daring in the terms of tech tree has taken that position at ranking, and I'm really enjoying this line and working up. I think daring will probably, for now, will remain my favorite destroyer. Let's see how I feel about with the Holland. But yeah, I'm enjoying this line of destroyers, and these really fast torpedoes is really fun with that decent reload time. So like I said, tomorrow we'll do an upgrade and commander build video. I'll break down the ship for you. We'll look at the upgrades, we'll look at the modules, we'll look at the consumables, talk about more of the strengths and weaknesses of the ship along with the concealment, and most importantly, look at the commander, and I'll share with you the build that I'm planning to go for here on the Östergötland. So if you liked today's video, give it a thumbs up. If you did not, give it a thumbs down. Subscribe if you do want to see more. If you are subscribed, thanks so much. I really appreciate it, and we'll catch you here next time. Take care.